Going back to question 1, and I'm going to do part B. So in part B, and this is where I want you to add on a bit. So in not part B, sorry, it's part C. Okay, so I'm going to do part C here. And in part C, what's really important, sorry, I just want to make sure you just put up on the top what you're looking for. Okay, so you're looking for profit. Okay, looking at part D, they're looking for selling price. So D, go right here, we're looking for selling price. Okay. Now I'm just doing it in a different colour just to make it easier for you. So what we're going to do is, we're going to go down and we're going to fill in everything for part C from this. Okay, we always go back to the original now, but that, to make sense of that, right? They want to reduce the selling price to 7. So here, I'm changing this to 7. Is that okay? They're going to do an extra 22,000 on advertising. Advertising will affect this, my fixed costs. So that means that my fixed cost won't be 84. My fixed cost will now be 84 plus 22, which means my fixed costs will be 106. Okay, and it says the number of units will be 82,000 units. So write that down there, I'm going to be 82,000 units. And it says everything else stays the same. Okay, so let's have a look. We want to work, we could be working backwards or forwards, right? So we know that the selling price is €7. So that means that you're selling, and for 7, you're going to sell 82,000 of them. So you're going to take in 574,000. Okay. They said everything else stayed the same, which means the 331 stayed the same. Aina, the 331 stayed the same. Now, this is your key here. This is 10% of my selling price. So that means my commission changed. If the selling price changes, your commission changes. Okay, so just watch that. So looking at that there then, my contribution per unit, well, it was €7, take away the 70 cent for sales commission and the 331 for variable costs. So my contribution is €2.99 per unit. So how much is it for the total units? Well, I made 82,000. So that's 245,180. You take that away and you get your profit. And that's your answer. That's what you were looking for. Okay? It's easy enough if you follow the steps. Okay? So fill in the information that they give you. Now, I don't need to go fill every single part in. I just need to fill in what I need to get what I'm looking for. So let's go back on this. The selling price changed to €7. If the selling price changes, that means the commission changes. The variable cost stayed the same. The fixed costs increased, I think it was by 22. So again, I worked with my contribution per unit. Then I went over for the total number of units, which is multiplying it by 82. I have my fixed costs, so I've got my profits. And that's your full marks for part C. Okay, let's look at part D. This time you're looking for the selling price. So if you look at part D, we're going to be looking for this figure here. So you're probably going to be given all the information and this is going to be missing up there. So calculate the selling price the company must charge if fixed costs are increased by 15. Now the only thing I want you to be careful of is for each part you go back to the original. So I want to increase these by 15. So 84,000 being increased by 15 means my fixed costs are going to be 96,600. Okay, that was increasing it by 15%. But the volume of sales and profit remain the same. So the sales is 75,000 units, is the same, and the profit is the same, 208. Okay, now you're going to have to work backwards. So working backwards, that means my contribution was 304,600. Now I want to work back over here. So if you have the revenue and you want it per unit, You divide by the number of units you're making, which is 75,000. So you get €4.06. Okay. Now it said the variable cost didn't change. Use the variable cost at 331. The commission, right, is 10% of your selling price, but I don't know what the selling price is. Is that okay? So I've just filled in everything that I have. Now I'm just going to, I don't have a space. If I let the selling price be X, okay, because you're used to working with X. So X minus 10% of X is 0.1 of X, minus 3.31 is equal to 406. Okay, so I've just written that down as an algebra line. So that's 0.9 of X is equal to €4.06 plus 331. So 0.9 of X is equal to 737.
Yeah, I did.
Again, if you have 2X or 3X, how do you get X? You divide both sides by what's beside X. So X, which is your selling price, is €8.19. Okay, that's probably a little bit more difficult, but you just have to remember you can fill in your selling price or your commission here because you need your selling price to fill that in, but you know it will be 10%. So you fill everything in. Now when you're working out the selling price, I think then write it down as an algebraic fraction or an algebraic statement and then work out what your selling price is. Okay, part E is probably the most difficult, but again, if you follow my steps, you're not going to go wrong with part E. Make sure it is part E now. Yeah, part E, you're looking for the number of units. Now you're going to find in the books there's numbers of different ways of doing this. I actually think this is the easiest way because it makes it kind of more logical and you can understand what you're doing here. So it says calculate the number of units that must be sold at €10. So you're selling them at 10. That means you know that your commission is €1 and your variable costs, the rest of them didn't change. Okay, so if we work out our contribution per unit then, so you 10 minus 1 minus 3.31 is €5.69. Now the problem is, for me to move back over here to this here, I need my number of units, which I don't have. So I'm just going to keep filling in, and this is 84,000. Now you have a big problem here. I can't fill anything in because for me to go from here to here, I'd multiply 10 by the number of units, but I don't know that. So I'm just going to pretend, not going to pretend, I'm going to say to get to here, I'd have to multiply 10 by the number of units. Here, I'd say it's 431 by the number of units, and then I'd have 10 minus 431, so that's my revenue would be 569 by the number of units. Okay, because I don't know what the units are, so I'm saying whenever I get the units, I'd have to multiply it by that. Now, what does it say about the profit? Now you need to be careful with this. They want the profit to be 15% of sales revenue. So they want the profit to be 15% of sales revenue. Now you don't know what your sales revenue is, but we're calling it 10N. So I want the profit to be 15% of 10N. Now 15% of 10 is 1.5, so that's actually going to be 1.5N. Okay, so if you look here, we have again an algebraic expression. So let's write it down, get a different colour pen and figure. So we've 10N, well I've taken away, so I can just say, I have 5.69N, I'll take away 84,000, and my answer is 1.5N. So the same thing that you do with your algebra, numbers to one side, letters to one side. So that's 5.69N minus 1.5N is equal to 84,000. Okay, so here that's 4.19N is equal to 84,000. Again, I want N, so I divide by 4.19. So N, the number of units, and again, it's 84,000 divided by 4.19 is 20,000 and 47.7, but we know we can't have decimal places, so the answer is approximately 20,048 units. And that's it done.